Previously on the Salvager. The first part of our vow, I swear on iron to discover the fate of the missing cargo ship. So we got to be in our merry. So let's go ahead and just roll this up and let's see what we get for our first leg of the travel. So wits roll, and it's a miss already. This is looking super great right off the bat. You know, we're very close to the bridge. We come up, we take a look at our centers and our scopes, and we see this one fast patrol boat ship. And thankfully, it's stopped us before we've gotten too close to it. Roland manages to turn all the systems off. This fast patrol boat kind of comes through. It's blockading the area, but it's one patrol boat. It has a lot of space to cover. And so it goes off, does its own thing. And after maybe, we'll say 5-10 minutes or so, it rides off in its own way. So let's find out what our first real leg is. Oh, okay. So this is like some kind of a Salvager hive fleet that's parked here and it's not able to move for some reason. Now in game terms, we could just leave, but Roland's not about that life. Roland he tries to help by nature. And before he can even say anything, we say, hey, we can already tell that your ship is damaged. I have my repair things. Why don't you let me go out? I can do an EVA. It looks like your airlock is already having problems. You don't want to have to call another ship. I'll just fix it for you. And we're going to see if we can do some basic field repairs. We're not trying to fix the whole thing. So let's go ahead and just see how we do. It's a miss with a match. So that's worst thing possible. The raider fleet, the faction raider fleet, just returned in again, and I kind of look over to the side, and we can see them off in the distance, and they're closing in fast. I think we're gonna try to talk to this fleet and see if we can't convince them that they need to not do this. They need to stand down. They need to go. And Roland knows that he only has one chance to get these guys down, and so he's gonna throw out the biggest name that he knows. This is Roland Bishop. I'm an Ironsworn Salvager, backed and supported by May Farron, legendary Iron Salvager. You've heard of her. You know what she can do. You know what she's gonna do to you if you press this attack. You better back down now. Otherwise, this will not end here. Okay, let's go ahead and do our compel with threatening and inciting. Iron. Go. Destroy. And then after a few more beats, all you hear is hard copy, and the ships. You hear that click again because the mic is clicked off, and the ships start peeling off. Welcome back. Session 2. So some housekeeping items before we get started. Let's come back over to here. There was some carryover stuff from Session 1 where we left off. Number 1, we moved Alex, our new contact, our new companion, into our people section. Gave him some stuff here. We also rolled up that he has a goal to defeat a rival. Probably has something to do with that new faction we ran into. And as a second piece, we also rolled up a new faction. We actually rolled up a second faction as well because there were some things that came up in there that we wanted to be able to flesh out a little bit better. So the first faction that we ran into was the Kindred Sons. This is that the raider fleet that we ran into with the Salvager hive fleet. So this is a fringe group. And this is a lot of information that we don't know, that Roland doesn't know, but we, as the audience, we know about it. But Roland does not. So this is actually a fringe group that's split off from another group called the Jovian Security Regiment. They're like a local powerhouse. They're more like a paramilitary group that does security, like upholding the law. They're like the police that have been hired by the various factions that are in power around Jupiter. And Kindred Sons is a splinter group that's broken off from them. And it's actually controlled by a rogue AI. And we rolled this all up on the new faction tables that Sean's put out. Nobody really knows that they are, even their own members know that this is run and controlled by a rogue AI. And maybe at some point we'll find out, and we won't. We're gonna try to stay away from these people as much as possible. But this is the group that we have, and they're a small group that's looking to incite conflict. So we rolled up. They have 2 projects. They're looking to incite conflict amongst their rivals, which is primarily the Jovan Security Regiment they've broken off from. And they want to escape the control of that same faction. So they're looking to set up their own power in the area, but they have very little influence right now. But they're looking to change that. Okay, so that was the big thing that we did as carryover from last section. And then at the start, there's actually a new move that we will start doing at the beginning of every session. It's called the Begin a Session move. It's not yet in the Traveler Starforged pages yet, but it is in here. So in Stargazer, there's a move called Begin a Session. And when you begin a new session of play, a new chapter of play, and we're going to just start doing this at the beginning of every single one of our sessions, you roll up on a table, and this is kind of something that's happening off camera. It's, at the beginning of our episode, something is happening, and it alludes to danger that's happening off screen that as the audience we will know about, but Roland will not know about. And so we rolled on this table, and we found out, let's close this down, that the movie rolled up was that external factors have created a new danger, urgency, or importance for a quest. And as you guys remember from the last session, where we ended was we managed to brush off that fleet, now what we know as the Kindred Sons, and they've gone away. But we're now defining our new off-screen scene that's happening here at the beginning of our episode, where you cut away from what was happening with Roland, and we can see there's a large pan out and a slow zoom in towards the Penny for Your Thoughts, the ship we've been looking at. And you can see off in the distance that there's some of these, the Kindred Sun ships. They look very similar to the ones, they had all the markings and all the colors of the ones that we just managed to brush off from the Salvager Hive fleet. We can now see their markings. They have taken control of the space around the ship. Whether they've taken the ship or not, we don't know. But what really draws their attention is some flashes that we see off towards, with Jupiter in the backdrop. We can see these drivelets that are coming in, and it's this new faction that we've heard of. This is the Jovian Security Regiment, and there's a fleet that's coming in, and we see both of them kind of square off. The camera, the silly kind of shaky style that they did for Battlestar Galactica, and you can see the. You can see the fleet start coming in, and you see the missile tracers and guns starting to fire. And caught square in the middle of this thing is Penny for Your Thoughts. So that cuts back over to us, and it takes us to where we're going to be continuing from, was our continued expedition to travel to Penny for Your Thoughts. So we're going to be continuing our expedition here, and we're going to be making the move to, let's get our handy dandy book here. We're going to be making a continued expedition move. So let's go ahead and start with our wits, and we're just going to see where that takes us. So let's go ahead and get up our dice roller, and we're doing wits. We have no pluses. Let's roll the attribute. So we have a weak hit. And if we look at undertake an expedition for a weak hit, it's as above for strong. So you reach your waypoint, envision the location, and mark progress per the rank of your expedition. So before we forget, let's get rid of this for a moment. Let's mark our progress. This is just troublesome. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay. Made some good progress. Total of 6 on it. And we're going to envision our waypoint. I think the waypoint is going to be... well, we haven't actually gotten there yet because we're still traveling. So this will be a new kind of area. But there's one other thing, which is... since we got a weak hit, it's as a strong, but the progress costs you. So we're going to choose one. We're going to make a suffer move at a big -2, so it's a more serious one, or 2 suffer moves at a -1. And I think what we're going to do here is we just came down from the moot, meeting Alex Okira and the Salvager Hive fleet. And I think what we're doing is we're taking a little bit of time, because we know we have our little vignettes here, where we're taking a little bit of time and we're setting up our plants. We're trying to find the right spot for them in our ship. The important things, yeah, absolutely. We're looking for Penny for Our Thoughts, but look how less beige it is in this place now. Isn't that so much better? I think it is. And so we're trying to find just the right spot. And since we're spending the majority of our time in the bridge, I think most of the plants that we're setting up and the greenery and the hanging spots, we're repurposing places that were more brown and sandy and beige in nature to provide hook areas for our plants as we're going in. Also, we're starting to notice that there's a couple shoots that are coming off of this thing. And my hope is that once we get back to Reprise, the station, it's an agrodome. And I'm wondering if we can trade some shoots from these plants for some new plants, and then we can make this thing even better. And so I'm actually going to use that as some work that I'm doing as I continue my progress here on I Swear on Iron to make this starship more green than beige. So we're taking that we're progressing this iron vow. And it's not really meant to take up a huge amount of space, so we're going to go ahead and progress it since it's troublesome by 3 full boxes. Awesome. Cool. And then with that, let's find out what we run into here. So we have an oracle. We're going to go to our space items, and then we're in the Outlands. We're going to find out what kind of waypoint we run into. We may interact with it. We may not. So, we have a dense nebula cloud. So I think this is going to tie into our it's not so much of pay the price, but we're going to take a, what did it say? A suffer move. Yeah, we may take a pretty big suffer move. And we have the dense nebula cloud. And I think what we're going to do here is if I come back over to our character, we got some pretty decent momentum coming in, and I feel like I don't want to burn that. I think with what we just came from and trying to set things up, and we're we're trying to make the ship a little nicer. I think what Roland does is he takes a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a relaxation, and maybe this dense nebula cloud we've run into, Roland sees it as something that's kind of peaceful, nice, lovely. Maybe there's a couple ships that are around it, taking some sensor scans, and we're just kind of seeing it off in the distance. And what we don't realize, what Roland doesn't realize, is that one of the things that we rolled up for our sector was that there was a newly found resource that has been luring some ships to the sector, and it's these shifting plasma currents that have been detected between the Upper Jovian magnetosphere and Hegemony, the moon, and they can be collected, but it's a little bit dangerous as a highly powerful fuel source. So pretty nifty. And I think what we're doing here is that as we continue on, we're going to just mark this kind of area right here. So let's go ahead and mark a sighting and add it. And we're going to just call this a plasma field. Plasma field. Perfect. Let's see if that keeps it on there. We have to change it from a passage to a location. Perfect. So now we have a plasma field in here. Just something of interest that we may come back to later, and we have it marked on our navigational logs. But Roland is taking this time to relax, and I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a -2, a pretty significant one, to our supply. So our supply is going to go down by 2 to a 3 from a 5, and what this in the narrative, what we're saying is he's using a bunch of supplies to repurpose some of the space in the bridge to make it look nicer, to make it be a little more lived in. And it's not just a matter of the beige parts of it. We're taking things out. We're redoing our seats so that they flow better. There was a lot of stuff in this ship that was not needed for the kind of work that we were doing so far and the challenges we're running into. We also knocked our head on something as we tripped over like a conduit, so we're trying to fix those and put them out of the way. And then I think we're having like a nice meal with some of the things that our newfound friends, our newfound contacts from the Salvager Hive Fleet had given us, and we're taking like a little bit of a pause to watch and see this plasma field, the nebula. What Roland sees as a nebula, knows it's not a nebula, but it's pretty, and so we're just taking a little bit of time to kind of catch our breaths. We're using some supplies, but we feel like we're coming to the end of this thing. And I mean, honestly, what can go wrong? We've already dealt with most of the problems just a little while ago, so the chances of running into some real trouble, it's probably not going to happen. We've already ran into our huge sum of trouble already. Okay, cool. So we marked our progress, and now we're gonna do another one. So we're gonna take a second, or sorry, this is gonna be our third leg now on the travel. So let's go ahead and bring up our dice roller. And we're doing wits again because we're feeling pretty good. This is probably gonna be the last leg of our journey to get there. It's obvious. We got a strong hit. It totally makes sense. So if we're looking at our undertaken expedition, as a strong hit, we reach our A point, and we're gonna vision the location and mark progress per the rank of our expedition. So this is a pretty easy one for us. First, we're gonna mark our progress, and then I think we're actually gonna make the move to complete our expedition, what we think it's going to be. Before I forget, let's just come over here and find our expedition. So we have 9 full boxes now. Excellent. Okay. And I'm going to actually roll on this before I set the scene, because the roll for completing expeditions, it might mean that you have completed your expedition. You are here. But we may botch this thing horribly, and maybe that's not the case. So, and also if we hit a weak hit, real problems could start happening, even though we do complete it. So let's go ahead and jump back over to our exploration moves, and we're going to be finishing an expedition. So when your expedition comes to an end, roll the challenge die and compare to your progress. So we're not going to roll our d6, add our stats, and do things like before. This counts as our roll, this 9 out of 10. And then we're going to go ahead and make a progress roll to see how it goes. And it's a weak hit. Okay. Awesome. That's just super great. So on a weak hit, it's as above for strong, which is you reach your destination and complete your survey, mark a reward on your legacies, discovery legacy track per expedition rank. Okay. But for weak, you face an unforeseen complication at the end of your expedition. Make the legacy reward 1 lower and envision what you encounter. That's rude. So now we get even less for it. Well, unfortunately, that means we get nothing on this track. So this gets completed. So this is going to be gone now. This expedition is over, and we're going to run into some challenges. And since the expedition was only troublesome to begin with, we're not going to be able to track anything on our legacy track. Okay, so we get nothing for this one. That's all right. And on top of it, we also face an unforeseen complication. Well, it was unforeseen to Roland, but it wasn't unforeseen to us because we watched that intro session. So let's go ahead and close out these oracles for a moment. And I think what we see as we come in, and let's actually get rid of that challenge because we've now completed it. And before we move on, we're actually going to mark our progress on the Iron Vow as well, because we will see the penny for your thoughts, but with some with a twist. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. So I have to pop open and delete the expedition, turn that back off before we accidentally get rid of something we didn't really want to. And then we have our vow here. I swear in iron to discover the fate of the missing cargo ship. A penny for your thoughts. We can see it. So we're gonna mark this, and then I'm gonna set what's going on. So since it's troublesome again, we get 3 full boxes here. And then to set the scene, our camera kind of cuts out, and our ship jumps in. You can lead a horse to water. It jumps into the system, and Roland's coming in, sitting down, and all of a sudden you whoosh, this whizzing comes right over the top of his ship. Just our center console window that's just right above us, that external viewport that we have. This ship just rocks right over the top. It's one of the small patrol boats, and has the markings not of the breakaway group, the Suns, but instead it's the Jovian Security Brigade, and we've never seen that ship before, and we're very confused. And we even look over. Roland looks over at his sensors, and there's ships everywhere. The thing's lighting off like crazy. And what we can see is that we've jumped right into the middle of this kind of makeshift ad hoc battle that's just appeared around us, and we had no idea this was happening here. And off in front of us, it's not immediately in front of us, but off some distance away, we can see a penny for your thoughts. This is the ship. This is the make. This is the model. We know this is the ship. The problem is that now we have everybody that's around us. And the first thing that we're going to do, is we need to look around to see if anybody. We need to check to see if anybody has laid claim to this as salvage yet. So I think it's very unlikely. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ask the Oracle here if somebody has come through and dropped a salvage beacon in this area, laying claim to this particular ship. Now, this is something that we haven't talked about in our game world yet, but it's a thing, which is legally you have to lay claim to the ship. You drop like a little beacon, and if one's already there, it stays there. So like if I drop a beacon, then somebody can come by afterwards at some later point in time once I've left and a certain time has elapsed. And then somebody else can then lay claim and get whatever is left. And so it's kind of like a legal claim status. And I think it's, with all this stuff, it's almost certain that there's no salvage beacon here. But I'm gonna roll on it just to see for, even more twist if this has been claimed by somebody. So almost certain means on an 11 or greater on a D100. So let's go ahead and get up our rolls. That it's almost certain that nobody has laid claim to this. So it's an 8. So so somebody has laid claim. So there's a beacon here, and somebody's laid claim to this, and it's an active claim too. So this is something that's working and up and running right now. The problem is okay. Now we have to ask: is it? We know the audience. We the audience know that the sons were here first. The kindred sons were here first. So it's not the Jovian security brigade that's laid claim to it. Do we think it's these guys that have laid claim to it for some reason? It's possible, but we know that they're a splinter break-off group from this other crew, so I don't think it's them. I think it's another group. I think it's another group entirely that has laid claim. And maybe when we're looking at the ship, we can see that like a smaller ship has been docked to like the main side cargo airlock. Maybe it's like still attached to the side of it. Okay, cool. But we can't make out its if it's in good shape or not right now. And so now we have a much more immediate problem as another kind of rocket goes flying over the top of her, the klaxons blaring for alarm, hey stupid, you should probably get out of here. And I think we have the immediate pressing need to do something. And I think what we're going to try to do is get as close to the penny for your thoughts as possible. And this, I think we're going to have to, we're going to have to face some danger. And unfortunately, I think we're going to have to use edge. I think we're going to have to be quick about it. But let's go ahead and pop back over. And I say unfortunately because my edge is the worst thing possible. So let's do some facing of danger. With speed, mobility, and agility, that sure sounds like it. Because the rest, I don't think they'd apply. We could use aggression, just try to pound the things, but I don't think that's the smartest thing in the world. So we're going to try to use our edge and face danger to be able to cut our way through here. We just want to make our way to the ship as fast as we possibly can. So we're doing it with haste. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our dice roller, flip over to our worst stat possible on edge, and give it a roll. It's a weak hit. That's not that bad. That's okay. So let's take a look. Weak hit for face danger. You succeed, but at a troublesome cost. Make a suffer move at a -1. I think it's obvious. I think the ship is gonna take some damage. So let's go ahead and take a look at a new suffer move, which is withstand damage. Not to us. So our Roland is not taking damage. It's our ship. You can lead a horse to water. So withstanding damage, when your ship faces a damaging situation or environment, suffer -1 integrity for minor damage, -2 for serious damage, -3 for major damage. I think this is going to be like a glancing blow with one of the, like maybe, we hear the, in one of the compartments, we're hit by some, like autocannon shells or something, just hard punch projectiles that have breached the hull in like the cargo bay or something. It's not super serious, but it can be if we let it get away from ourselves. So we're going to say this is just -1. We're not too crazy at this point, and we're moving pretty quick. That's the only reason I'm not making it a -2. And then if your integrity, so we need to go down to our starship here. So our ship goes down from a 5 to a 4. And I can choose to resist the damage and roll plus integrity. And I think I'm not going to. I think we're more focused on getting there as fast as possible. We're not trying to mitigate the damage. We're not trying to deal with any incoming ships, minus just getting there as fast as we can. So we're not gonna. We could, but we're not gonna try to fight this thing. And I think what happens is that Roland manages to pilot our ship. You can lead a horse to water as close as possible. And what I'm doing is I'm taking station right off of their engine, right off of where the fusion drives are. And I'm doing this on purpose so that the ships that are around us will stop taking pot shots at us. My hope is that they're looking to not blow the ship up. Just at initial glance, the ship maybe has taken some stray hits, like minor things, but it looks like they're not trying to actively destroy this. I wouldn't be surprised too if like we had a couple of pings, like communication pings from both sides, trying to get our attention, which we are ignoring because we don't want to. We don't want to give them our information. We don't want them to know who we are. They could probably run a registry on our ship, but that's a problem for later. So we're taking station off of the engine in hopes that they won't fire at us because that might destroy the ship. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick scan on the ship to see if I can find out what the cause of the ship has been incapacitated somehow. And so we're going to run a scan on the ship, and I want to find out, was it this ship that attached to it that has taken the ship out somehow? Or did they just suffer some kind of like an accident aboard the ship? So we're going to gather some information. And let's go ahead and make that move. So we're going to go ahead and pop back over to adventure, and we're going to gather some information. So we're searching for clues, asking questions, analyzing evidence. And so we're doing a scan on the ship at close range to be able to find out kind of what happened. And this uses our wits. Also, we have this path that we haven't used yet called Scavenger. When you gather information or resupply by scavenging a ruin, a wreck, or an abandoned site, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. I'm going to say this applies here because the ship at this point, as far as I'm concerned, is considered salvage. And so we're going to be gathering information on this. Also, not just to find out what happened, but because we may want to get in on this. There was some missing cargo. So we may need to recoup that cargo somehow for reprise as a station. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to take the +1 for that. And if we get a hit, let's not forget to take the +1 momentum. So we're going to go ahead and bump our adds up by 1, make the roll, and it's a strong hit. That's great. So first we got a hit. So let's go ahead and bump our momentum up by 1 from the move. Awesome. Also on a strong hit with a match, we get some cool thing too, but that doesn't apply here. So on a strong hit, we're going to discover something helpful and specific. And then the path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what you learn, and then take +2 momentum. Okay, cool. So let's get our +2. We're going to need all this momentum to just get out of here. So what do we think? Do we think it's likely that this ship, whatever ship is here, has caused the problem, or if it was an accident? I think those are the two obvious things. And I feel like it's more likely that there was an accident, and then all these things that are happening they're just kind of happening around it. So let's go ahead and ask the Oracle again. And what we're going to say is that it's likely that the ship ran into an accident. I'm thinking maybe it passed through that plasma field from before and then just got stuck here for some reason. Okay, so on a likely, it's 26 on a D100. So on a 26 or higher, it is that it ran into some kind of an accident. And it's an 81. So yeah, so this particular ship, a penny for your thoughts, it did get an accident. I think in our scans, we can see that the engines have a very heavy plasma scoring. And it's clear that, it probably took in some of the gases or the gases reacted with the engine thrusters in some way and caused like some kind of a trigger explosion. Because we did mention in the sector listing, and actually let me bring it back up again. We did mention that it's risky to collect this. So maybe they got a little too close and there was some kind of a plasma flare and it blew out their engines. Yeah. I like that. Okay. And I think what this also does is if we come back over to our challenges, this tells us that we have progressed. I feel like we now have learned something significant on discovering the fate of the mission ship. So we're going to go ahead and hit, since it's troublesome, we get all these. And then we're actually going to try to close this out right now. Before we move forward, we're going to see if we can complete this Iron Vow, because we feel like we have, but depending on how you roll, the thing can go sideways, and maybe the whole thing can be undone. Our discovery turns out it wasn't. It was something else entirely. So let's go ahead and bring up our... Where is it? This is a quest move. Here we go. And we're going to be fulfilling our vow. So when you reach the end of your quest, roll the challenge die. It's the same thing like we did for our expedition. So we have a 9 progress, and we're going to see what we get on a progress roll. It's a strong hit. That's exactly what we wanted. So on a strong hit, the vow is fulfilled. We mark a reward on your quest legacy track per the vow's rank. So since this is a troublesome, we're going to go ahead and come over to Roland Bishop's character sheet here. And we're going to come down to quests, and we tag 1. This is the way you get experience in the game, and it also kind of shows how much you're progressing on these various tracks of quests and bonds and discoveries. Pretty cool. Okay. But we haven't gotten anything really nifty from it yet. But this does mean that we managed to complete this Iron Vow. Pretty cool. Anything else that happens, Any allies also mark the reward. Now, don't worry about that. Cool. So we did it. So let's go ahead and get rid of this, because now this Iron Vow is done. I swear an hour to discover the fate of the missing cargo ship. We have discovered the fate. Excellent. And the problem now is that we're in front of the ship. We're very close to it. The battle's raging on around us. Another, kind of coming very nearby. A ship that's maybe taking station off of our port. Trying to wave us off before it then gets brushed by another ship and has to run. And so we're in front of the ship, and we have a problem. We could leave now. The job was to figure out what happened to the ship. We've now figured out what happened to the ship. The problem is that there's somebody who has a salvage claim on this thing, and there's gear here that has to make its way back to Reprise. So I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to... Does Roland want to try to connect with our folks here, or do we want to say that we're going to try to go so far as to get the goods? Like, do we want to be stupid? Of course we're going to be stupid. Do we want to be stupid and make an Iron Vow right now that we will retrieve the goods from A Penny for Your Thoughts and take it back to Reprise? Hero of the day. Do the thing. Be helpful. Yeah, I think we do. Yeah. It's a horrible decision, but I think we're going to do it. So let's go ahead and make I Swear on Iron. So we're going to swear on iron to recover the lost goods from A Penny for Your Thoughts and return them to Reprise. Awesome. Okay. We're going to have to make a move for this, and I'm going to say this is dangerous at the very least. So it's going to take us a little bit more to progress through this. Return them to... is it return them to Reprise? I feel like I want to make this a little more open-ended in case... return them to the rightful owner. To their rightful owner. Oh man, that's like so bad, because what happens if they wanted to try to get them, but somebody stole them? Oh, it's all kinds of messy. Cool. So dangerous it is. And we have no idea if the people who are aboard the ship already have it. We'll find out as we go. So let's go ahead and make an Iron Vow here. So we're going to go ahead and come over to Quest. Excellent. And we're going to be swearing an Iron Vow. Now, before we make the roll, there's Diplomat. When you swear an Iron Vow to resolve a dispute, negotiate an agreement, or gather allies. I feel... Nope, no. That's, I think, stretching it just a little bit too much. So we're not going to do that because it's specifically on swearing an Iron Vow. But we're not going to do that. Okay. I feel like we'd be really reaching for that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and come back over to challenges. And we're going to make a roll on, I swear to iron, to recover the lost goods from A Penny for Your Thoughts and return them to their rightful owner. That's a Iron Vow laden with all kinds of problems. Okay, so we're going to use plus heart, and we're not swearing the vow to a connection or a bond, so we don't get any pluses. Okay, so heart, no ads, make the roll. Strong hit, boom, cool. On a strong hit, you're emboldened. It's clear what you must do. Next, take +2 momentum. This is great. We need all this momentum to escape this thing alive, like we mentioned. Okay, so I think we know what to do. And right off the bat, I think like the goods are maybe as we're swearing this Iron Vow, the sensor suite on our ship bleeps again, bleep 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 bleep, and we didn't realize this, but part of what May programmed into our system, the file that she gave us, the information file on A Penny for Your Thoughts, was that she also tagged like the RFID for the cargo packages that we're looking for that were in the ship. And maybe that little sensor ping comes back and it tells us, our ship tells us, oh, look, it's still on the ship. So the sweep of the ship has confirmed that these goods are still on the ship. We have a problem. And the problem is it is illegal to board a ship that currently has an active... it's illegal to board a ship that currently has an active salvage claim on it, which we've already stated it does. So, problem number one. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to ping comms. Ooh. You think anybody is still on the ship? You think anybody is still like on the bridge? Like somebody actually is on this ship is still here? That would be cool. It introduces a whole new twisty element, which I think I like. I think it is likely. So we're going to say that it is likely. So when we ask the Oracle, it's on a 26 or greater that somebody is on the ship. Like somebody, if we try to communicate with the ship, with the penny for your thoughts, not with the Salvager that's attached to it, that maybe we can get permission to come aboard, in which case it bypasses the claim rights law. Let's do that. Okay, so we're going to roll 26 or higher. Oh, just won't let me do anything. So no, there's not somebody on the ship since we got a 6. Okay, so then we're left with the less cool idea of we're going to communicate with the Salvager to ask if we can get permission to board just to take what we need from the ship, which they don't have to do, but we're going to try it. So I think Roland pings the ship. We have kind of like a wait timer. Nobody comes through. Nobody responds right away. But there's forwarding controls on a ship. And so after another minute or so, we hit another ping. And this time we hear that boop, because it gets popped across to a forwarding. And we hear somebody who's inside the ship. Let's go ahead and roll. Let's close this one up. And let's get a view of who this is, who answers our phone call. So let's go ahead and clear out our character. And Kieran answers. First look is armed. No, that doesn't. We don't see that, but Kieran is definitely armed. And Kieran is indifferent to begin with. Yeah, what do you want? Is probably the ping that we get. And Roland would say, "Hi, my name is Roland. I'm not sure if you noticed there's a battle going on out here. That's not the point of what I'm calling for. I'm just here on mission from Mayfarin. Again, we're doing some name drops. I'm here on a mission from Mayfarin, from Reprise, and all I want is a single cargo box that's aboard the ship. That's all I need. And I'm wondering if maybe we can work something out here. Maybe you can let me on board." And I think there's silence on the line because Kieran doesn't really care one way or another. And I feel like I need to drop something in there. I gotta make a move. So I think Roland's gonna try to sweeten the pot a little bit, try to give Kieran a reason as to why he may want to help us in a good way, not in a rude way. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna make a compel move here. So let's go ahead and make compel, and we're gonna try to persuade someone or make them an offer, and we're gonna use our charms. We're gonna charm this person, which means we have plus heart. Okay, so let's go ahead and get us a heart roll. We have no ads. Let's get it. Great, it's a miss. Now the cool thing is that we do have momentum. So if I want, I could burn this 8, and it wouldn't even give me a strong hit because it counts as though it's an 8. So it would cancel the 7, but not the 8. I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway. If you don't use it, then you're gonna miss out on everything. And we have to get aboard the ship. This is critical. Okay, so we get the weak hit, and on a compel weak hit, it's as above for strong, so they'll do what they want, and they agree to my conditions, and we get plus momentum. That's good. So we're already starting to build it back up again. But their agreement comes with a demand or complication. So I think they agree to do it, and I think our initial sweetening of the pot is, hey, I will I'll chat you up with good old May, our contact, our legendary Iron Salvager, Mayfarin, and I think that's not enough for him. I think Kieran comes back in and says, Yeah. Maybe as long as you introduce us directly, like right after we're done, then that'd be great. Deal? Yeah, totally. We have to get aboard the ship. So yeah, Roland 100% agrees. Yes, absolutely, totally. I'm just gonna go ahead and dock in. I'm gonna dock right off the main reactor, and the hurriedness is punctuated by, another like clipping shot that's not meant for us, is passing by, but it pings our ship, and I say, okay, I'm docking now, and we come in and we dock with the ship, and what are we trying to do here? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find where the goods are at, because we know they're aboard the ship. They're probably aboard where they're definitely in the cargo room. So we're going to have to make our way. This feels like it's an expedition. So let's go ahead and create a new challenge. and we're going to call it Troublesome because it's not a massive ship. We're just going to, make our way through. And let's go ahead and get to it. So we're going to say new. We're going to be doing a new expedition. And the expedition is making our way through a penny for your thoughts to the cargo, to the missing cargo. Perfect. Okie dokes. So we're docking in, and let's go ahead and grab our exploration stuff here. So we're going to start an expedition, and I think we are moving at speed. We really need to, because this guy Kieran is not going to help us out. He's indifferent, doesn't really care. He's here for his own stuff. He may even be here for the cargo slip, so we just have to get there before he does. But we have a problem, which is we need to get there before somebody in this fight outside gets wise or gets frustrated with the fact that these two salvagers are just ignoring them, and nobody's listening to them, and somebody's is gonna send a stray rocket our way pretty soon here. So this feels like a clock time to me. So we're gonna add a new clock, and this is gonna be called make the kindred sons angry. Okay. And the advance, we're not going to worry about the advance thing. It is going to be a no roll. This is going to happen as we start doing misses within our exploration. And we're going to call this a 6 clock because it's kind of pressing but not over the top dire. But it will be pretty soon. Great. Okay, cool. And then I think we just click on this to advance it. Perfect. Let's get this thing going. So let's go ahead and undertake our expedition, and we're going to be moving at speed as we make our way through the ship. So let's start off with Edge, because we're making our way through the ship. Yep. And we get no ads or anything. So I think what happens here is we're docking in with the ship. We have our EVA suit on. We quickly throw on our tools. We don't take anything extra with us. Maybe just the crowbar, that's all. And then and we're going down to the docking ring, pushing the button to pop it open. I don't know if there's any atmosphere yet. We'll get there when we get there. So let's go ahead and make our first roll. Let's go. We got to move. We got a weak hit to start with. So on a weak hit, we've got it's as above for strong. So we're going to reach a waypoint. We're going to vision the location and mark progress. Helpful. But it also costs us. So we're going to suffer move as a -2 or 2 suffer moves. Okay. So first, let's go ahead and progress. So we're going to mark this as moving on forward. So since it's troublesome, we take 3 full boxes. And then what kind of a suffer do we want to hit? I think we might roll on this one. So let's go ahead and pop over to our suffer. And we're going to get a D6 and see which one of these things it goes to. It's a 3, which is I endure stress. So Roland is like trying to catch his breath as this is all happening. Do we want this to be a single or 2? No, I think a single is fine. We'll just take a -2 to stress. And I think we are going to try to steel ourselves on this one. Roland has never been trying to do something like this on fire before. This is the first time he's really having a major salvage type operation at all. And like quasi illegal because he's hitching onto the ship without having a proper authorization. Yeah, sure, he has the agreement of the Salvager, and that's fine. But man, this is really stressful stuff, and it's weighing on him. Is he going to be okay? What's May going to think of all this stuff? It's all kind of flying through his head as he pops the airlock. I think there is kind of a little bit of a small rush of some air that comes in just to close up the space. So it's definitely pressurized. At least it has some kind of atmosphere on board, which is helpful. But we do take a 2 hit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to endure stress. So I'm going to make the move, and we're going to see if we can bolster ourselves, hearten it, and it's either spirit or heart, whichever's higher. I'm just going to roll heart, and let's see what we get. Oh, it's just a straight up miss, not great. And it's actually worse than I thought. So I suffer oh my gosh, I suffer an additional -1 spirit, or I lose 2 momentum. I don't want to take another spirit hit. That would drop us down to 2. I think we just lose momentum. So it's taking us a little bit more time than we thought to get this door open, and that additional time is slowing us down. You know, we maybe hear another plink from the ship, or you know, a ship kind of skittering off the outside of this one as it just does a little flyby maneuver a little too close. And it reminds us, hey, we're on the clock. And speaking of, we got a miss here, so let's go ahead and come on down to challenges. Let's get rid of this. And, oh, that was not supposed to happen. There we go. It's moving us forward, so now we're at a 5. If this fills up, by the way, then we've pissed off the Kindred Sons, and they're going to make a move, whatever that is. We'll get to that when we get to it. But we do make some progress, so let's find out where we find ourselves as we pop into this ship. So let's go ahead and pop open our starship. Is it a starship? No, we're going to call this a derelict. And this is a... yeah, it's a starship. And we just want to know... here we are. This is what it is. We're going to find out what our current zone is. And we come into medical. No, we're actually not going to roll this one for the first one, since we already said that we attached into... where was it? Engineering? There we go, engineering. So we're coming into the main area. And if I roll some of this stuff... no, this is what we want, the engine room or power core. And we'll just get we'll get a feature. Ooh. So sealed remains. Ooh. Interesting. What kind of remains? Sealed remains would be in the engine room or a power core. I wonder if it's like the sealed remains of, like, maybe they were messing around. Oh, yeah. Maybe they were trying to mess around with the plasma, like when they got close enough to it and they started getting some samples, and they've sealed it away, or like a combination of that and a person, maybe there's like a body bag. Yeah, I like that. So there's like a body bag or a couple body bags that are stacked on the side of the room, hastily thrown together, and we can see that the engine is offline. Maybe we see like a yellow pirating light, like a yellow and white light that's passing off in the background to tell us that proper safety shutdown procedures were followed, which is good. But we can see that there's some dead bodies off on the side, and they even have some of that plasma residue that's like on the side of the body bags, like maybe even like a handprint on the side that somebody had when they were putting it together. Who knows where the rest of the people are? Nobody else is in here. Maybe the only thing we hear in the background is like that, you know, the warning, the warning scanner sensor alert of other ships being too close, because, you know, they're passing by really close, and things like that. Okay, so we find ourselves in this room. We got some progress. We got to move. It would be interesting to stay here and take a look. Maybe there's even one of the little canisters of the plasma off on the side. We don't have time for this. We got to keep moving. So we're gonna press. We're gonna press on, and we're just gonna continue on with our exploration. So we're gonna continue the exploration. By the way, since we actually made it on board the ship, I'm going to say that this counts as progress, our first bit of progress, towards our iron vow to recover the lost goods from A Penny for Your Thoughts. Because we're on the ship now, at least. That's better than nothing. But this is dangerous, so it's only going to be 2 boxes. There we go. Okay. Let's continue our expedition. So we're going to continue to move at speed through this. Yeah, we are. We need to. We gotta make our way. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our roller up. Another edge. This is not great. And let's roll it. It's a weak hit. That's also still bad. So we mark progress. That's good. And we're going to move into the next section. But then we're going to take some more hits, which is also not great. So let's go ahead and come over to our progress for the expedition. Here we go. And this is cool. So we're up to 6 now. And we're going to take some more suffer moves as we make our progress. Let's roll up what we find next as we're making our way through the ship. And then we'll go ahead and roll up our suffer moves. So what do we find? Let's get rid of this. And the next room we run into, let's just go ahead and... can we... oh, good. Here we are. We come into a living quarters. Oh. Yeah, we already know it's a new zone. And there's a failed... oh, a barricade. So we're coming through some corridors, and maybe we see that there's like a bunch of the doors to like 2 of the living room areas have been sealed in, but one of them just have some stuff piled on top of it, and maybe as we're looking in there, we can. Oh, do we hear something? Is there movement or sound in there? It could be. Let's find out. I think it's 50. We're gonna give 50-50. So if it's a 51 or better, we hear sounds in there. There's something to explore. It's gonna draw our attention, and if not, then we're gonna potentially be on our merry. But before we do that, we got to make some suffer moves. So as we're coming through, and I think we're gonna take 2 suffer moves on this one because I don't know if I can take another -2. So let's get us some d6s and find out what happens. Okay. So our first d6 is a 3 and a 4. So we have endure stress, bad, and also withstand damage. So that our ship on the outside is taking some more hits. It's happening off camera. You know, we hear like a shudder, and maybe Roland even says, "Oh man, it's so good I'm over here, not on my ship," not realizing that our ship is taking a hit, and we can't try to withstand that either. So the ship just takes another knock. Boom, down to a 3. Great. And then we're also going to endure stress because, again, the ship is shaking. Things are going sideways on us. Nothing is working out. This was supposed to be a milk run. I think May said this was supposed to be a milk run. Okay, maybe she didn't say those words, but in my mind, I was thinking milk run. We're going to come up to spirit, and now we're down to 2. And we remember what happened last time when we tried to push this thing off. I don't think we're going to... Mechanically, we're not going to try to push it to try to steal ourselves. And also, I think this potential sound, whatever we're hearing, kind of stops us for a second, whether it turns out to be something or not. And it's something that we're like, oh, wait a minute, this is drawing our attention. So let's get our 50-50 roll to see if there's anybody there. And if it's a 51 or higher, we do hear a noise. It's 57, so we definitely hear a noise. Let's clear these out. Okay, so something is there. Do we think it's our newfound partner? No, I feel like it needs to be a person, like maybe a person from this ship. Yeah, we're not even going to roll for it. It's somebody from the ship who's in there, and let's find out a little bit about this person. So this is probably somebody that would have been... So it said barricade. So something happened on the ship. The ship was docked. Lots of explosions. This is one of the survivors, and who knows where the rest of the people are. We have no idea. But there's somebody who's still alive on the ship and has barricaded themselves behind this thing. And then, the question becomes, does Roland stop and help or just push on? I think we already know the answer to that question. But let's find out about this person first. So we're going to go to character. We're going to write down Kieran just in case he comes up again. Okay, let's come back up. Come down to characters. And they are armed. We will not forget about that. Clear this and let's get a look. Kyler is shifty. And his he's okay. So Kieran obviously has a partner. And he's a shifty, a very shifty person who is wanting the people's things on the ship. So it's a thief. It's just a thief. And I think what happens is we have this head pop up. We're going to reveal an aspect too. Doomed. Oh. Okay, so there'll be an odd look about this person, like a very fatalistic kind of final look. And we have this head pops up. And at first I was thinking quirky, but now it's like end of the world kind of quirky. The person that you see on the side of the road with the sign. And Kyler's head pops up and looks. And it's clear that that he's shifting through all of the stuff that was in these living quarters. And looks at us and says, "Hey, this is my stuff. Get out of here. Does Kira know you're here?" Whatever. And he pops back down again. And we're kind of left sitting in the hallway. Like, what do we... Well, obviously we're not going to help. And do we move or should I stay or... No, I should definitely go. With an eye kind of looking back towards that really creepy room with the creepy dude in it. No, we have to get out of here. But that's for next time. So that takes us to the end of our second session. Next time around, we're going to see if Roland can make it through this very dispiritus first real adventure into the unknown for him. So thanks again for coming. See y'all next time.